Hello there. I'm going to have a crack at the football over the week with Will. So this will be Will's weekly football roundup. So what I'm going to do today, I'm not going to focus in too much on international football. I believe I sort of did a video on that sort of earlier in the week. I'm going to have to sort of have a bit of a review, a bit of a look back at some of the big signings over the summer. Now, I've picked 10 that sort of interested and excited me that I think have landed, that have done very well. If I get enough interest from this video, I will flip it and reverse it and have a look at some of those really bad ones, the ones that didn't land. But I need a positive reaction from this to sort of warrant doing that, if that's okay. Cool, thank you. So, my list of 10, I'm going to start with Amadou Onana, who obviously moved from Everton to Aston Villa for 50 mil. So the 23-year-old Belgian international sort of seemed highly sought after by several other teams before Aston Villa decided to commit to it because none of the other big teams wanted to sort of go for him. Sort of got a couple of goals early on in his career from set plays to sort of make him a bit more comfortable with the Villa faithful. He is part of what I'd consider the change at Aston Villa, having changed from playing with Douglas Luiz to Amadou Onana. I believe their style of play has changed, and Amadou Onana is an absolutely brilliant player for the sheer fact that he will just eat up the ground, and sort of he's naturally formed quite a good partnership in the middle with his international colleague Youri Tielemans. So Amadou Onana himself covers the physical aspects of things very well, and then you've got Youri Tielemans who covers the more technical side of it. So I believe they complement each other very well. But this is what I think has been such a very good signing, and I'm surprised there wasn't another big team that were sort of interested in going for him, like a Man United, for example. I think could have done with him before and ending up sort of going for choosing Agate, in my opinion. I think that there are other teams, because I think it's very fashionable to go after CDM. Seem to be the interesting sort of position for a lot of teams at the moment. Next up, I've gone for Iliman Ndiaye. So Everton signed him for 15 million from Marseille. Obviously had a spell previously in England, not admittedly in the Premier League and the Championship, with Sheffield United, which earned him his move to Marseille, where he was an absolute standout player. Obviously moved back to these shores and doesn't look at all out of place. He has sort of become one of the creative hubs at Everton, as well as sort of Dwight McNeil, who's just sort of got a good first touch, an eye for a pass, eye for a goal. Just the ball just sort of seems to stick with his feet, to be perfectly honest with you. He's only got 2 goals at the moment, the Senegalese international, but he's someone that now that I think Everton have sort of tightened up a bit more at the back as well. When they're a bit more secure with the possession side of things, I think that number is going to go up, because that ability on the ball is just sort of... Sometimes when I'm looking at some of these stats, they don't match up with the eye test, as it were. Because some players you can see doing the work, but haven't quite managed to get it all sorted out and all together sort of at the end of the pitch. But it doesn't mean they don't have a strong contribution to the game in any way. But no, I think it's a very strong signing from Everton. Next 2 players I'm going to have a look at from the same team. So I've got Emile Smith-Rowe. So obviously 24-year-old, sort of signed from Arsenal for 27 million plus £7 million add-ons. I don't think anyone ever questioned his ability beforehand, sort of making the move. It was always a case of fitness and can he sort of stay on the pitch and not pick up any knocks or any injuries, because I'll be honest, I don't think he's that far off of sort of potentially sort of knocking on Thomas Tuchel's door. Granted, that is a very full position for England at the moment, but making a serious sort of argument there. So he's got the 3 goals and 2 assists. However, when you watch Fulham play, so much of that of creativity and attacking energy comes through him in particular. His ability for the pass, his ability to drive with the ball, is absolutely immense, and it's part of the reason why Fulham themselves have been one of the surprise packages of this season. Continuing on from that was the other signing of Joachim Andersen for 30 million from Crystal Palace, sort of returning to Fulham, having sort of had a spell there previously before joining Palace. Comfortable in the Premier League, it can't be understated, sort of just to be able to get an experienced, quality Premier League ready central defender to come in, to shore everything up, to organise, to be comfortable in the background and the surroundings, for the ability to be so comfortable on the ball, to play everything sort of forward and to know his role and to fit into the role set up very clearly with Marco Silva, is absolutely sort of brilliant and cannot be overstated. Next one, personal favourite out of the list for me, be Liam Delap. Now, he wasn't the Ipswich signing that I was most excited about originally. So I've got from 20 million from Manchester City, and I know several other football YouTubers actually picked him out as being the potential flop or bad signing of the season, and they completely messed it up, and I am glad. So he's got 6 goals and 1 assist from his 11 matches. He is a proper old school centre forward, and it's an Ipswich team that creates chances, and I think it very much has done in the previous campaigns in League One and the Championship, and it just needs to make sure that it's got someone that can put those chances away. They've had sort of previous strikers like George Hurst who enabled the wingers and attacking midfielders to get the goals, but Liam Delap has taken on the goal scoring responsibility himself. Doesn't look out of place in the Premier League. He wasn't necessarily sort of stand out sort of for goals and assists in his various loan spells in the Championship, like for Hull or sort of Preston North End previously, but absolutely stand out now and sort of one of the best scoring like young English sort of strikers I've sort of seen for a while. To just sort of first season in the Premier League and to just bang is absolutely immense. Sort of old school, big, strong. He can shoot from sort of anywhere. He can drive with the ball. He can bully defenders. He bullied Romero in Ipswich's first win of the season, and Romero is not a centre-back that gets bullied very easily. Absolutely love him. Long may it continue, and I mean, who knows? I mean, he's in the England under-21s, but I don't know if he might sort of be looking at going sort of upwards into the main team if he keeps up this form, but it's absolutely brilliant signing. Next, I've got Facundo Buonanotte, who's at Leicester, sort of on loan from Brighton, sort of the 19-year-old, obviously with a lot of depth and quality within that Brighton squad, wanted to get more first-team experience. Brighton obviously wanted that as well. So it can actually fit straight in to Leicester to replace the outgoing Keenan Dewsbury-Hall. And just like how I mentioned Iliman Ndiaye earlier on, almost everything goes through him. Originally, Leicester sort of had a lot of luck going through players like Fatawu and Mavididi, and they haven't been quite as reliant on them since coming into the Premier League, but they're very much reliant on Buonanotte with his 3 goals and 2 assists, someone who's very young, very exciting, very good on the ball. And if Leicester sort of managed to sort of stay up, as it were, he's going to be one of the main reasons why. I mean, I'd like to think he could sort of potentially push on and sort of fight for a place at Brighton, because judging by sort of the quality on show, I mean, you could make a case for it, granted how well Brighton are doing, but very much a Premier League quality attacking midfielder. Next, we've got Nasser Mazraoui, the 27-year-old sort of signed from Bayern for 17 million. Maybe on the face of it, the least glamorous signing out of some of the ones they've made, sort of signings of Joshua Zirkzee, sort of striker, Lenny Euro, very sort of bigged up sort of defender, Matthias de Ligt, sort of very well known from his Ajax days and sort of been around sort of a few big clubs. Mazraoui has come in and done sort of a sort of brilliant job. He's sort of comfortable on the ball, he can defend, he can go forward, he's what a modern day fullback should be. He can play left back, he can play right back in the same way that Dalot can, I suppose, as well. So it offers sort of something there for Man United, and it makes that defence look a lot more solid. How he plays sort of going forward under the Amorim system, we'll have to wait and see. Sort of as the roles of the fullbacks obviously change for the Amorim system, who naturally decides to want to play a 3-4-3. So whether you've got Mazraoui potentially playing as a centre back, which I think he could do, or as a sort of like bombing sort of fullback, he's got the legs for obviously, which he can do that as well. Which sort of versatility and experience at the highest level is absolutely sort of key for Man United going forward, I think personally. Next one, which would probably be my number one if I was to order this, is Milenkovic, the Serbian centre-back signed for Nottingham Forest from Fiorentina. 12 million, just absolutely amazing. He pairs up with Murillo sort of perfectly. That Nottingham Forest defence is sort of very tidy, very strong. Doesn't concede silly goals, and sort of the reason why Nottingham Forest are sort of pushing up there in European places. If they stay there, then absolutely amazing. But time will tell on that. But one thing that cannot be understated is that centre-back partnership sort of is what makes Nottingham Forest so good. It's up there as sort of definitely one of the sort of stronger partnerships. Obviously, maybe not Gabriel and Saliba level, but very, very good, and it sort of just makes them sort of serious contenders to finish in the top half of the Premier League this season. Next, we've got Dominic Solanke. I've decided to pick. Some people potentially thinking he should be scoring more. I'm not sure that's sort of a thing. I mean, he's got his 9 matches. He's got 4 goals and assists in the Premier League. Obviously, he scored in his European goal as well. 55 million plus 10 million pounds on add-ons. I think he's sort of that's a solid enough return. Sort of his goals to games ratio at Bournemouth last season was a goal every sort of 2 games, which I think he's pretty much on par with now. And I think if he manages to do that and helps get sort of more goals out and facilitates to help get more goals out of sort of the wingers, the Brennan Johnsons, the Kulusevskis, the Heung-min Sons, then I think it's a good role for him. I think people don't seem to underestimate, and I think this is something that I sort of recently discovered, having sort of watched them a bit more, and sort of friends have mentioned to me, is how comfortable he is on the ball, sort of his actual technical abilities that people seem to sort of sleep on. People seem to think he's like a big physical striker. Granted, he is that, but there is some real technical quality there. Besides being able to strike a ball, being able to play a pass, being able to bring other people into play, it was sort of it's a good signing for Spurs. And it's now no longer a position where Spurs sort of have to think, ooh, do we need to get someone here? That position is sorted. It's nailed down. They need to look elsewhere now because that is a top signing. Cool. And my final player, I would look at Jørgen Strand Larsen for Wolves. He signed on loan from Celta Vigo, the 24-year-old Norwegian striker. Unfortunately, probably doesn't make that many appearances for Norway because of a certain someone else. But he's got 4 goals and 1 assist sort of in the 11 matches that he's played. He's sort of very strong, sort of very powerful. And one of the best aspects of him is he's with his sort of working sort of partnership and understanding with people like Cunha. It seems to have benefited the team as a whole. I think Wolves obviously aren't doing very well currently in the league, but I don't think you can say it's down to the attacking side of it or the ability to score goals. It's more the other end, being able to stop conceding. Because I think Jørgen Strand Larsen, is sort of very solid, very reliable, and has helped enable sort of getting the best out of players like Cunha as well. So as I was saying, it's not just about those sort of stats, it's what they bring elsewise to the team. It's sort of the ability to help get the extra goals out of the players around them. But yeah, that's it. Let me know what you think, sort of what are some of your top signings or maybe not so top signings. Bye for now. I'll see you later.